What we're talking about, of course, today is Amazon post Prime Day. Now, you've probably been inundated with a number of presentations and calls and advice that's been thrown out there as far as like, what do you need to do for Prime Day? And as you know, it's like in past Prime Days, I've always been, leading the way as far as what you need to do in order to set things up. I'm going to go through and do briefly, actually, both Anthony and I. So really appreciate Anthony Lee that you're joining us here. Anthony Lee, for you, those of you who don't know, I'll go ahead and introduce him here shortly, as well as myself, for you, those of you who have never heard of either one of us. And then we also have Matt here from our team. We are sponsored by Canopy Management, which is one of the top advertising agencies for Amazon, for brands selling on Amazon, as well as Walmart. And so this is an opportunity, obviously, for us to give back to the community and really tell you how to, based on our experience, what are some of the best things that you can be doing quickly for Prime Day, but especially what we're focused on today, if I can get my words out, is what to do post Prime Day. In other words, how do you wrap things up? If this is your first Prime Day, give me a 1 in the chat. If you are on Zoom and I say, give me a 1 in the chat. Is this your first Prime Day, or, give me another number if it's been, if you've been in multiple Prime Days in the past. That way, it just kind of gives me an idea as far as the audience here. Obviously, we don't have that kind of feedback loop on Clubhouse, but other than like say voting, I suppose. All right, let me go ahead and jump in here. So we're talking about Amazon post Prime Day essentials, and we're going to go run through this fairly fast. So you're welcome. This is going to be recorded. So those of you who are aware, this is going to be recorded for those of you who joined us on basically the slides that are on Zoom right now. This will be recorded. So those of you on Clubhouse, be aware that if we do invite you to speak in the Q&A section at the end here, that it is recorded, and therefore you opting in to speak at the end of this our talk, our workshop today, that you are giving us permission in order to record your voice. So just be very clear on that. And then this replay, of course, will be reposted out to not only those who signed up for the workshop, but within our own Facebook group as well, which is the Amazon PPC Troubleshooting Group on Facebook. Cool. All right. I think I got that all out. I think I'm unmuted in both locations, so I should be here, voice should be going across. Anthony, you're set to go, yeah?
All right. Yes, sir.
Cool. All right. So let me go ahead and I got a little bit of lag with the slides here. I'm not sure what. There we go. All right. So as I had mentioned earlier, is that this workshop today is sponsored by Canopy Management, which is an agency that I co-founded along with a few other things. We do currently work with multi-million-dollar sellers, top Amazon insiders. We have some great connections within Amazon. We have a whole team of not only accredited, but very well-trained experts within our ad teams and our creative services team and our DSP advertising team. This has resulted in a year-over-year proven track record of turning brands that we get to work with into category kings and queens, basically helping them level up to the next level, right? Level up to greater success. Some of those brands have gone on to be bought out, to hit whole new levels of sales, not only on Amazon, but off of Amazon. So it's fantastic being able to work with the people that we have within the team. At essentially the pitch at the end of theirs is, if you do want to work with us, if you want to see if you qualify to work with a Canopy Management advertising agency, you can go to canopymanagement.com and then /webinar-offer. That simply just allows you to book an appointment with one of our consultants on our team in order to see, is it a good fit? That is the extent of our pitch, right? All right, let's go ahead and jump into the workshop here. For those of you who are not familiar with me, thank you for being here. I'm glad to meet you. Hopefully I get to meet you in person someday with COVID going by the wayside. Those of you who are going to be at Prosper 2020 in Vegas next month, I will be there. Anthony, I think you're actually going to be there as well, yeah?
Absolutely.
I'm actually going to be dressed as Darth Vader too, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm kidding. Every single time I've come up with something new. So I have had the privilege of being able to speak English here, the privilege of being able to help over 20,000 brands in my career on Amazon, especially in advertising and listing optimization and product differentiation. And now Canopy has managed over $1 billion across all the accounts we've worked with over the years. I founded a number of things. You can read these here. Those of you on Clubhouse, of course, Amazon PPC Troubleshooting Group on Facebook, the PPC Scope software I co-founded, Sponsored Products Academy 1, 2, and 3. I was the head trainer and co-founder of that one. And obviously Canopy Management, which I brought up a couple of times. Let's talk more about, for those of you who just joined into Clubhouse, the link to the slides that I'm showing in Zoom is actually on either Brian or Anthony's profile. There's a Zoom link. You can join us in there as well, but not needed necessarily. That's all I'll talk through it. Let me go ahead and introduce Mr. Anthony Lee. He is one of the foremost Amazon speakers, consultants, and thought leaders. Many of you are already aware of Anthony. Anthony recently joined the Canopy Management team. He has a phenomenal track record in the Amazon space, also including being Chief Operating Officer for Six Leaf. Some of you may remember it back from the Zonblast days. He played a contributing role as far as content management over at Helium 10, and he also had a stint with was it Signalytics? I always pronounce it Signalytics. Signalytics, yeah, we stole him away basically. So he is now working as one of our Amazon subject matter experts beyond advertising into many other topics. So I think we've got a pretty good power team going on between the two of us. So Anthony, you also sell your own line of products as well, correct?
Yeah, I sell on Amazon myself, and then I also still have a client or two that I help.
Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, I do actually do some coaching as well. I do actually have my own products. My products are quite a bit more eclectic. It wasn't until the past year that I started developing my own kind of synchronized brand of products that are similar. In the past, a lot of it has been where I've picked up and taken over brand products that other people didn't do well. And of course, you know, so basically created an eclectic mix, right? So welcome, Anthony. I'm going to go ahead and let you jump in here with start talking about some of the Prime Day. Actually, let's go ahead and we can both talk about this one here. Is there anything else you wanted to add about your experience that is going to be relevant for today's workshop?
No, I'm excited just to share. You know, I've been in the game for a little while, so I've seen a number of Prime Days. I also love the fact that we're having this conversation because very often the focus is always on Prime Day prep. And having been somebody that used to run launch services, I can tell you that I know the complacency that sets in after the rush of Prime Day is over, how so many of your competitors are going to lean back and hopefully we'll give you the edge with the information that we'll share today.
But here's some things we're going to do a really quick. Here are some of the things that you should do for Prime Day and some of the things you should not do for Prime Day. Some of those include, I've done training in the past on this. There's actually a full YouTube video in my channel on YouTube regarding gold panning campaigns. These are primarily low bid campaigns that are set up for an automatic campaign, a manual keyword targeting campaign for sponsored products, for a sponsored brand, product targeting campaigns, even category targeting campaigns. These are in addition to your standard set of advertising campaigns, but they are designed to be low bid, high budget. And what they're designed to do is to be a catch-all. One of the things that is interesting about Prime Day, about Cyber Monday, about some of these peak traffic days on Amazon is a lot of times what happens is your competitors make mistakes. We're going to try to help you avoid some of the mistakes that they make and take advantage of this today. So I do want you to be taking notes, taking screenshots, certainly listening in here. But ultimately, the biggest thing that we could hope for you and your business is to actually implement what you learned today. So probably one of the biggest things for us is that gold panning set of campaigns. Again, I'm not going to go into detail on this one. This one is already presented in my YouTube channel for Brian R. Johnson on YouTube. you can certainly go and look, search for gold panning on YouTube and my name and find it. If you don't find it, just message me somehow across social media. I'll get it to you. But these are basically the campaigns that work as a safety net, if you will. Think of it this way. You have competitors that are going to make mistakes on Prime Day and post Prime Day. Now, gold panning campaigns are something you can technically run year round, right? But I typically recommend them for event situations like Prime Day, like Cyber Monday, like Black Friday even, so that when those competitors make mistakes, they lose the buy box, they run out of stock, somebody takes them down for a violation, they stop running ads because they run out of budget. There's a number of reasons why their product listing won't show. Or they may get a negative review the same day that Prime Day starts. It's amazing how much that will actually affect that. But when they're not running ads, when their listing is not showing as available, shoppers start looking for alternative products, and you want to have your product showing on their product detail page in search results, any place that is likely going to steal away that shopper that was originally intended for somebody else. Ideally, you are coming to Amazon with your best foot forward. You're bringing to market a product that has unique benefits for selling the product. You're not just copying everybody else. If you're doing that, awesome. That's a business model. It's not one I share. I don't necessarily agree with it. But what I would certainly recommend that you're doing is always working to improve the product and making your product stand out from the competition. That's a whole nother conversation there. But as an alternative to competitors who don't run ads, who run out of budget, who run out of stock on Prime Day, there's so much traffic on Amazon for Prime Day and Cyber Monday that you want to make sure that a lot of things like budgets get blown out of the water, right? Depending on what product niche that you're in. So what this does is essentially the gold panning campaigns create a safety net so that your campaigns run and they're set intentionally at a low bid being below your break-even bid for the products that is being advertised, right? So they're always profitable. And generally what happens is, let's say there's a whole bunch of traffic, some competitor or some competitors run out of budget and their ads stop showing. All of a sudden, Amazon starts looking farther and farther down the chain for those who are running ads. And when everybody else is running out of their ad budget, yours starts coming up more and more frequently. We've literally had situations where we've had gold panning campaigns that normally, maybe a product in normal advertising might get 5,000 to 10,000 impressions in a day. That's a pretty good day for an ad. And they don't start running, the gold panning campaigns didn't start running until 6 o'clock the evening of the first day of Prime Day. And when the competitors all stepped aside because they stumbled or they gave up or whatever the case was, all of a sudden our gold panning campaign started running. We would literally go from what would normally be like a 5,000 to 10,000 impression day to over 1 million impressions by that evening, which is a phenomenally unfathomable. I don't know if that's even the right word, but inconceivable for those of you who are fans of that show. In other words, you can get a huge amount of traffic. Oh, fantastic. What that makes that even more important is not just the fact that you get a huge amount of impressions when everybody else kind of moves out of the way, is you'll likely get sub 20% ACoS. It's not uncommon for us to have single digit ACoS on those ads, which is phenomenal because usually what that means is we sell an extra $2,000 or $3,000 worth of product and we have a single digit ACoS. That's pretty kicking as far as adding profitability to your bottom line. The second thing that I would do on this is focus ad spend on highest converting products. The first one is gold panning. Second one is focus ad spend on highest converting products, ad types, and targets. So what that basically means is because Amazon is out there telling sellers to increase their bids, increase their budgets. A lot of times they're saying double, triple, and then they'll even, put it out to disclaimer. It's like, oh, by the way, cost per, CPCs will be higher because there's more competition. Well, yeah, because you just told them to be more competitive. Of course they're going to be. Don't fall into the trap of what Amazon is recommending that's going to benefit Amazon. Make sure you focus your ads to where you have your highest converting products running ads. You have your highest converting ad types. In other words, whatever you consider to be above average as far as conversion rate for your products, for your campaigns, your ad types, and for whatever targets, whether that is keyword targets, product targets, category targets, whatever is above average by your standard, those are the ones that you continue to run during Prime Day. Now, the 2 weeks leading up to Prime Day, conversion rate is horrible. Usually it's half of what is normal. Now, that is normal for it to drop down just before, in part because of how Amazon is advertising and bringing in shoppers, bringing in Prime shoppers, and also because a lot of people as shoppers, are waiting around for the deals. They're especially waiting around because Amazon sells, I think 60% of the sales on Amazon for Prime Day are Amazon products, Echoes, and whatever the case is. What that means, though, is you need to really tighten up your advertising right now to focus in on those above average converting products, ad types, and targets. In other words, focus your ad spend really tight through Prime Day, and then after Prime Day, we'll tell you as far as how to relax and how to basically go back to something that's going to give you a competitive advantage. Right now, we're just focusing on what to do on Prime Day, the do's and don'ts. Anthony, I don't know if you want to step in here. Some of these other ones here, you can certainly, number 3, participate in a mini promotion.
Yeah, I was just I'll take over this part. So this seems like an obvious one, but definitely participating in as many promotion opportunities as possible. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people go through a Prime Day. It didn't blow up in the way that they wanted, and they're just like, it's another day, and then they totally squander the possibility of jumping in on one of the many opportunities that Amazon gives for these deals. And I know that they charge quite a bit more for Prime Day deals, than for other deals, but nonetheless, that's prime placement on the Amazon.com website. They have a system in place where they put these products in the place that'll get them the most sales. So, if for whatever reason you miss that opportunity, then there's always other ways. If your product has been selling for a while at a certain price, you can do a sale price so you get the slash through. Everybody that's going to be on the website is going to be looking for these promotions. You can run a coupon, have that little orange badge, because that's what people on Prime Day are looking for. I definitely say do those things. And if you weren't thinking about doing those things, then consider it, because it's all about getting in the mindset of the buyer, and buyers on Prime Day, that's what they're doing. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for the orange coupon badges. They're looking for the red slash through the price, because that's what they've been conditioned to expect. So definitely try to feed into that as much as possible. Now let's move into the don't do these things. Another obvious one, don't mismanage your supply chain. This Prime Day isn't the only one, but big shopping days are a great opportunity for sellers to make miscalculations with regard to restock. So it's a time that you should absolutely be more conscientious about what's going on. It really depends on what your lead time is. If you're one of those unfortunate souls that has like a 3-month lead time, then you probably don't need to worry so much about it, because by the time you get your inventory, and this is going to be for Q4 anyway, but for anybody that has a lead time more in the couple week to a month range, it's just important to really kind of sit down and realistically look. And we'll go into more about that, because that has a lot to do with what not to do, what to do and what not to do after Prime Day. But that's just one, keep in mind mismanagement of your supply chain. It's something that a lot of sellers kind of make a mistake on. So you want to think a little bit more about it. And then don't neglect your keyword rank. I think I mentioned when I first got on here that I've run a couple of different launch services. And I can tell you right now that post Prime Day is definitely one of those. Actually, even leading up to Prime Day, it's rankings get a little weird, and we'll talk about that. I'm going to dive more deeply into that. But it causes sellers oftentimes to mismanage that. They either neglect it altogether, or they don't route their attention in focus their attention in the right places. And the idea here is that you want to create momentum from Prime Day, and then you want to keep that momentum. And that's literally what the name of the game is. That's what we're going to talk about.
All right. So after Prime Day is where most sellers miss the boat, right? So let's go ahead and jump into what we're going to be talking about is several different strategies. These are kind of the topics, right? So 6 primary strategies we're going to talk about post Prime Day. Okay. So first one's going to be return to 80%. That's going to be an advertising strategy. Invest in top 20%, also advertising strategy, and increasing market share post Prime Day. Third ad strategy. Anthony's going to jump in and talk about replenishing inventory in a smart way, ranking long tails, and pushing relevance. So let's go ahead and jump in here. For those of you who are on Zoom, if you want to give just give us a 5 in the chat here if you're following along well. Everything's changing slides, all that kind of stuff. Things are good. Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you. And a reset for those of you who are on the Clubhouse multicast here. In Brian and Anthony's profile is a link to the Zoom session if you want to choose to jump in and see the slides that we're talking about. Otherwise, we're going to be audibly reading through the slides anyway, so it's kind of your choice. First strategy post Prime Day is going to be returning to 80% advertising on your ads. So the first thing I would do is go through and analyze the ad spend that I've had in the last 2 months prior to Prime Day. In other words, what is your standard leading up to Prime Day? Now, you may choose, because I had mentioned it's like the week or 2 before Prime Day, conversion rate sucks. You may choose to exclude the last week or 2 prior to Prime Day, which is going to be basically these next couple of weeks here prior to Prime Day. What you're going to do is you're going to identify the top 80% of ad spend by product, by ad type. Ad type could be, sponsored product, sponsored brand, sponsored display, DSP. And ad target. Target can be keyword, product targeting, or ASIN targeting, category. You're looking for those that produce the majority of whatever desired key metric that you're going for. For most of you, you're going to want to get to profitability, which means you should be focusing primarily on conversion rate. Higher conversion rate reduces your cost when it comes to ads, and therefore you're going to have higher profitability as a result. For those of you who are focused only on impressions, maybe you're part of a larger brand that has more money than sense. Just kidding. For branding purposes, those who want higher impressions and just higher visibility, sometimes that can be a launch strategy. That may be the metric that you're going after. It could be just units sold, specific units sold on a product that you're trying to rank for. That also is, again, regarding a product that you may be trying to launch. But what you're doing is you're identifying the top 80% of, like I said, the ad spend. And what you're going to do is you're essentially going to eliminate. You're doing some house cleaning here, right? You're doing some, what do they call that? Spring cleaning, right? You're basically saying, what is the bottom 20% of the ad spend I've had over the last 2 months that produce the least amount of whatever desired metric that you want, profitability, units sold, whatever, and simply not restart it. This is an opportunity for you to clean up some of your ad spend so that you can use your ad spend more effectively somewhere else, ideally what we're going to show you next. All right, hopefully that makes some sense. Ron, I appreciate the feedback. I'll go ahead and take a note on that. Thank you. So then what do you then do with that 20% that you just saved? Okay, well, you throw it over to based off of what happens during that week of Prime Day. What worked especially well that with the higher traffic that maybe you expected or didn't expect, but you're essentially what you're doing is you're going back and you're identifying what was the highest converting products, ad types, and ad targets, again, for during the week of Prime Day. Okay, that can include the 2 Prime Days plus, maybe one before, one after, which is pretty standard. And that gives you an opportunity to expand, take some of your ad spend that you saved on the last slide from only restarting 80% of your advertising and put it into more focused advertising into those top 20 assets, top 20% of assets that have the highest converting. They're above average in their conversion rate, and start doing some additional testing on how do you drive these forward. How do you increase the sales for the rest of the year? Sales growth in preparation for Q4, right? So you're launching from Prime Day into kind of testing mode, and you're doing some housekeeping. You're going into testing mode. I would also highly recommend that this summer is when you spend a lot of time doing some split testing, doing some product optimization. Talk to Canopy. We do have a phenomenal creative services team that does listing optimization, split testing, all that. Definitely talk to our team to see if it's a good fit for your brand's needs this summer in preparation for Q4. What I would recommend on this, as far as the top 20% advertising, is keep in mind, it doesn't have to mean that all of your keywords, maybe it's only 3 or 4 keywords that you want to double down on, you want to spend extra ad spend on in order to rank higher, in order to increase your sales velocity. Maybe you've identified specific products that are maybe not your hero products, but maybe are some products that you introduced a while back and they don't really have your attention because they haven't gotten as much sales as some of your hero and sidekick products, your top sellers, right? But in almost every case where I go in and I'm doing coaching or I'm evaluating a brand that has at least 10 products, they always seem to have one product that they've forgotten about. It hasn't been a big seller for them, so it hasn't gotten the correct amount of attention. That could be an opportunity where it is a product that has been underserved. It has low sessions, and yet the sessions that it has had an above average conversion rate. Remember to focus in on some of your smaller products that haven't seen the light of day enough in order to get huge sales, yet have an above average conversion rate. All right, third one. Hopefully everybody's following along here. Hopefully if you're on Zoom, you're taking screenshots as well. Of course, this is recorded. For those of you who are on Clubhouse who just joined in, of course, if you click on the profiles for Brian or Anthony, you'll see at the top a Zoom link if you want to actually see the slides. Third one here, third strategy post Prime Day, this is a huge opportunity for you to increase market share, not only through advertising, but I'm going to talk about specifically about advertising, is you're going to identify direct competitors having products that are currently out of stock. Now, this is going to require a little bit of work, right? Because you're actually going to have to go out there and see, okay, are they out of stock? There might be some tools out there that people are aware of, Chrome extensions or software that can tell you, if you're tracking your top competitors, who's out of stock. If not, software developers, please create that. But what you can do is you can go out and you can probably recognize, like, what are the brands that you're typically competing head to head with in the first couple of pages. And now they've run out of stock. Those are fantastic ones because Amazon is still sending traffic to their listings, right? They may be sending it to one of their child variations. They may be still sending it to their brand page. They may still be sending it to that page from off Amazon or Amazon traffic. In other words, they're still getting a ton of traffic. Anybody who's been ranking above you and is now out of stock, identify those, run ASIN targeting, product targeting ad campaigns on those competitors aggressively until they get back into stock. This is an opportunity for you to steal their shopper because you have a product that is available. It's even better, of course, if you offer Prime Day shipping, if you can ship quickly, if your stock product is available, if you've got an above average review rating and your price is comparable to what they had. Those are all going to give you an advantage there, but definitely don't simply just sit back and relax and say, Prime Day is over, okay, I can relax. No. This is a huge opportunity for you to increase your market share by implementing this. Run ASIN targeting ad campaigns, separate them into their own ad group or their own campaign if you want, so that you know that you can turn them off. But this is something you're going to want to check, probably every few days, every couple of weeks, until they get back in stock, especially this year when getting things restocked is nearly, well, I shouldn't say it's impossible, but you know how hard it is to try to get products stocked into Amazon FBA. Not only to get it across the ocean, to get it checked into a port, to get it checked into Amazon FBA, and then to have a limited amount of quantity checked into Amazon FBA. You know how many of your competitors are going to run out of stock because of the Prime Day traffic? That's a huge opportunity for you to go out there and find a dozen competitors who jacked up their price because they're running out of stock and they wanted to slow things down, right? Which I don't necessarily recommend, but they're going to do it. or they ran out of stock, those are great opportunities for you to run temporary ASIN targeting ads in order to steal away their customer. They deserve it. They didn't show up with the right inventory planning. Anthony obviously will get into more about that, but and then periodically check to see if did they restock or did they adjust their price. These are all things that are going to make them more competitive again. And you kind of want to take the profit out when you can before, basically before they're back in stock. Maybe ones who were previously, you weren't getting a great conversion rate on because they had a better product, a better price, better social proof. Now is the opportunity to jump on that audience that's still getting a huge amount of traffic to their product detail page. All right. Let me go ahead and do those are the three. Okay. So first one is post Prime Day, return back to 80% of your ad spend on the top converting, highest converting, those that are producing the highest key metrics that you're looking for. Only the top 80% of your ad spend. Use that remaining 20% of your ad spend and refocus on those assets, products, campaigns, ad types, targets that produced well, that converted well during Prime Week. And then, of course, also expand out, create an ASIN targeting campaign that goes after those direct competitors who ran out of stock recently or during Prime Week, who adjusted their price in order to slow down their sales. Those are great candidates to run temporary ASIN targeting ad campaigns in order to get some additional sales, to steal their customer away, and to increase your market share on Amazon. That's my piece of it. I'm going to hand it over to Anthony.
You still control the slides though. Okay. So real quick though, thank you for that, Brian, because that last tip, like that was ninja. I really like that. I don't know why I had never thought or heard of that before. Now that was awesome. So see, we're given a presentation and I'm learning stuff. Thank you. Okay, so now we'll go into what I said about inventory management. I want to go a little bit deeper. So what I have here is an example of, we're basically looking at last year's Prime Day. And then what we see here is BSR going down. That's what we want, right? That'd be awesome. But what you have to understand is that Amazon only has so many page ones, so many placements for promotions. Prime Day is going to be great for a lot of people, but it doesn't end up being knock it out of the park for everybody. It's just the nature of the beast. So while this is the ideal scenario, a lot of sellers are going to have to look at the potential or the possibility that it won't turn out that way. Could you give me the next slide? This is an example, literally a random ASIN in a random category of BSR going dramatically up directly after Prime Day. And this was last Prime Day, which led into Q4. So basically what I'm saying, if you look at, give me the next one. I have another example, two more. Look at the general, like especially that bottom one, it's a little bit more subtle, but the general upward trajectory of BSR. And for those of you who might be a little confused by my language, upwards for BSR is bad. Upwards for rank is good. BSR, bad. Because that means they're getting less sales. And like I said, this was last Prime Day going into Q4. So what I'm telling you is that you need to be prepared for the possibility that there's going to be a slump. And why that is important is because it's going to need to impact your intelligent restock plans. It's really easy to become emotional about how much you need to restock. And I know this because I've been there, and trick yourself into thinking that you're making a logical decision based on historical data. Especially if this is your first Prime Day, you have to live through it to see, it's going to fool you. You're going to maybe possibly even the worst performers for Prime Day, you'll probably see double, triple, as much as 5x normal sales. for 2, 3, 4 days. And you're going to be in a place where you're like, this is informing me that my product is more popular. And that is the insidious nature of these shopping days. What you're seeing is not a rise in popularity, not for you, not for your competitors. What you're seeing is the game played the way Amazon wanted it to be played, which is consumerism at its best. These guys are looking for awesome deals. They're holding off on doing a lot of their birthday and Christmas shopping until they have the best possible prices. It's not generally or typically indicative of an increase in interest. So don't fall into that trap. Be prepared. There could be a slump, especially because this Prime Day does not go into Q4. We still got 5 months. And then when you make your restock decisions, really you need to consider periods of time before Prime Day, so you don't get stuck with too much inventory sitting in a third-party warehouse trying to convince Amazon to let you push it all into FBA. So now we're going to talk about ranking and promotions and ranking maintenance. Right here, we see a couple of examples. Again, this is from last Prime Day. Basically, the thing that you need to understand when we're talking about ranking is, well, there's a couple things. For starters, most of your competitors are focusing on big keywords. And most of them do rank campaigns leading up to Prime Day, and then they totally slack off. So that's important for you to know. This is a common thing. I've seen it over and over again. Ranking campaigns stop because there are so many sales going into Prime Day and then on Prime days. So that's important to know. The other thing was that they focused a lot on the big keywords. So what you're going to see is a lot of sellers with bigger budgets moving up and up and up in rank because of their efforts on big keywords. They're putting a lot of money into this, so they're flushing a budget out for starters. But then what you're going to see is really, really, really hard to compete with big keywords because so much volume has gone into them leading into Prime Day and then, of course, Prime Day. So what's the answer? This is your opportunity to focus on long tails because your competitors are not. They're not doing anything. But rather than jump in and try to gain some footing with the big keywords, where it's going to take a little while for the algorithm to kind of tone down from that huge influx. So rather than put yourself in that situation where you might have to give a lot more units if you're running, rebates or other types of promotions, this is a good opportunity to really catch your competitors off guard, go back to the basics, identify a bunch of long tails that you could be doing better on, and really start pushing a promotion budget in that direction. You're just going to build a solid foundation and keep you out of the weeds with some of the more expensive promotions. It's a very intelligent way to get back into the ranking game when all your competitors are taking a break and not falling victim to too much spend in that department. Now, moving down into ranking maintenance, though, let's say you're ranking for some really good keywords, right? And you see some shuffling, you're concerned about that. Like, should you continue with the same budget? Here's the thing. What you saw after Prime Day, if you saw any shuffling for major keywords, is a ton of internal traffic. So what you're seeing is the benefits of ranking from internal traffic. So if you are currently ongoing doing promotions for some, stable, basic main keywords, this is your opportunity to push relevance through external traffic. This is the time when Amazon's basically convinced, these are the sellers that are doing they're most relevant for these main keywords, especially after Prime Day when so many, buyers went in there and, search for this keyword and bought. Like, that's a ton of internal traffic relevance. So this is your opportunity. If you're going to keep doing ranking maintenance promotions, this is the time to run those Snapchat ads, run those Pinterest ads, start running, ManyChat through different platforms to route the traffic so that it's diverse and from external sources, so that you start building the relevance for your product on that keyword based on external traffic.
And then we had a question that came in, and obviously we're going to have a Q&A here at the end for both the Clubhouse and the Zoom side. The question that Sal had come up with, I think you probably just answered, and that was, can you give an example of a type of promotion to offer after Prime Day when others are not? And I think you just listed through those. Do you want to kind of, so that everybody hears you on that, kind of give you a list of examples that you just listed off there?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're doing maintenance for big keywords, then I would say run external traffic promotion. So this is going to be ads coming from external sources. For example, we know that Amazon loves traffic from Google. You could run some AdWords ads for your product. You could run some Snapchat ads with coupon discount, not a big one, something like 20-30%. As far as the long tail promotions, this is going to be your typical rebates. Those are really effective, doing the search, find, buy, doing long tails that way. So you build a really, really solid foundation of ranking using search, find, buy promos for a bunch of long tails that actually encapsulate your primary keywords. Those are examples. That's what I would do. External ads, and then long tail search, find, buy, rebate campaigns. All right. We got more slides? I can't remember. Anyway, so I'm going to give examples right here. Check it out. Look, I was prepared before I even remembered I was prepared. This right here is a Snapchat ad, right? So this is an example of something that you could run. Valvoline did this. When you swipe up from this ad from Snapchat, it takes you to a page where you can buy their oil from their website. You can do the same thing, link to your Amazon listing. That is not even a video. I think that was a GIF. So the only thing that changed was the background changed color, right? It's extremely simple. Some of the creatives you can get away with using on Snapchat. But this is an example of some external traffic that you can run just to build up that external relevance. Okay, I see the question. I was referring more to within Amazon promo opportunities. Okay, so this is going to be your deals. These are your 7-day deals, deals of the day, lightning deals, the stuff that most people jumped on prior to Prime Day so they could be on those Prime placements during Prime Day. That's where you want to be ideally. But if you miss the boat on that, you might be able to at least generate more traffic and sales than a lot of your competitors by taking advantage of those opportunities after Prime Day, especially because Amazon typically forces you to have like a space in between your 7-day deals, your lightning deals, or whatever. And so a lot of people who ran them on Prime Day are going to have to wait for a little while. So if you can get in there for like the 23rd or 24th, granted volume across the whole site is going to be lower. That might be, a good opportunity for you to generate a little bit more in the way of sales. If you wanted to, that's an option. I personally prefer using a lot of external promotion and ad, types, but Amazon lightning deals and things of that nature are there for a good reason. A lot of people leverage them with a lot of success. So don't overlook them just because Prime Day's over. This might be a great opportunity for you to take advantage of what little traffic there is on the site while everybody else is still waiting for the refresh. They're waiting for Amazon to say, okay, you're allowed to run a best deal again. So I think that's what I got.
Cool. Okay. I think that was it. So we're going to, let me do one last plug here. We'll reset the room here, both for Clubhouse and for Zoom, and we'll jump into Q&A. So for those of you who are on Clubhouse, I'm going to have you, if you've got questions or discussion points you want to throw in there, go ahead and raise your hand so we know who to pull up on stage. For those of you who are on Zoom, go ahead and put your question into chat. That way we can go ahead and address it there. and we'll try to coordinate between the two platforms here and get all the questions answered. So hopefully this is clear. One last plug here, obviously, for our advertising agency for brand selling on Amazon and Walmart, Canopy Management. Again, you get a chance to work with multi-million-dollar sellers, top Amazon insiders, accredited Amazon experts, and we do have an absolute proven track record of turning brands, scaling them up into category kings and queens. Jump out to canopymanagement.com/webinar-offer. And I'll leave this slide up here for now as we pull in some of the questions. It looks like I've got a couple of questions coming in on Clubhouse. Those of you who are on Zoom, give me a scale of 1 to 5. Let me know if 5 you got something you could take action on post Prime Day. Put a 5 in there. Put a 1 if you're just glad to listen in. All right. So Jose, I'm pulling you up here onto Clubhouse. For those of you who may be wondering, like, yeah, we are going to have a replay of this that includes the slides that were shown through the Zoom broadcast. So you'll be able to get a copy of all the slides and everything in that rebroadcast that we'll send out over the weekend. And then also we'll publish it up to my YouTube channel. For now, though, Jose, I don't know if you want to jump on here and ask a question or bring up a discussion point.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Anthony. Hey, Matt. Hey, thank you for this amazing information. I've been watching the slides on Zoom as well. It's great. I have 2 questions for you guys. First one, according to what Anthony was saying about ranking and promotions and ranking before Prime Day, I've been noticing in some of our products that it's getting hard on the last week or 2 weeks to rank. Like we use Helium 10 for tracking, and the keyword tracker normally for example, one of our products always has a search volume of about between 80,000 and 100,000 search terms on the top 10. And on the past week, we even did a lightning deal, and those get us sometimes to 180,000 on search volume, and it went up for 1 day to 150,000, and then we are down again at 50,000, 60,000. Do you think is that because of people pushing to rank, and that's why it is becoming harder on these days?
So let me ask you a clarifying question. For a sidebar on this, for those in Zoom, I was basically holding my phone up to the microphone so that Jose could be heard. Could you actually hear his question? Give me a 1 if you heard his question, if you're on Zoom. Cool, awesome, nice. Oh, that actually works. Okay, and so then Jose, what you're saying is that you're saying that the impressions have dropped, or that the ranking, you said?
The ranking, like the search volume, we measured with a keyword tracker from Helium 10.
Right.
So it normally shows you, like, for example, in the top 10 positions, we have right now 50 keywords for a total of 50,000
right.
On search volume.
Right.
But this normally goes up to 100,000 like average. But on these last 2 weeks, since they announced Prime Day,
correct,
has been getting harder.
Yeah, and that would be normal seasonal drop right before Prime Day. That also happens prior to Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Okay.
Your conversion rates are typically going to half also.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
We're seeing all this happening. And the second question is for you, Brian, about gold panning. So I've been doing these campaigns, but I just have a question. The way of doing it, what I'm doing right now is I'm duplicating like my best campaigns, normally exact ones, because those are the ones where I really want to appear all the time and don't lose any position. So what I'm doing is I'm duplicating and I'm placing a lower bid on the duplicated, and then I'm leaving them both active, like with a high budget. So what I've been seeing, my question is, like when the competitors are out of budget, is Amazon taking only the lower bid campaign, even if the higher bid campaign is active? Do you know that?
No, I mean, if so, your higher bid will actually continue to run. And so that'll probably be winning out because essentially what you're doing is you're then competing on the keywords that you've duplicated there, both in the high bid and the low bid. Amazon's going to pick from the high bid one first, right? Because you're probably competing with somebody else who also has a somewhat high bid, certainly higher than what your low bid gold panning campaign is. So in those cases, the low bid gold panning campaigns are primarily used if not only if your own campaigns run out of budget, but also on every other target or asset that is not normally running ads. Now, if you're still running like you said, you're very specific as far as like I'm running just an exact match, you know, a very narrow, limited focus as far as the keyword campaigns. With a higher bid, if you continue to feed that, Amazon's going to look at that one first always. It's just more of a case of they certainly are not going, unless you use a fixed bid strategy, they're going to charge you less on the CPC when everybody else runs out of budget, or their ads aren't running. So you get a similar effect to what a gold panning does, but a gold panning is more kind of a catch-all, is that if you don't have to pay attention to your own ads, but also you've got more of a broad appeal. So I wouldn't necessarily go for very specific exact match keywords. For instance, I would go more flexible on that. Phrase match, broad match. If you're in a competitive situation, definitely test out broad match. Because I think that at that point, you're going to have a lot more visibility of those low bid ads during high traffic events like Prime Day.
Okay. Thank you.
Certainly. All right. Make sure that if you're in Clubhouse that you are raising your hand if you want to jump on stage and ask a question. One of the questions that Ryan on the Zoom channel had brought up was, any luck yet with the newly introduced product targeting video ads? Not new, but I know what you're talking about. Our campaigns still have 0 impressions. So Amazon started rolling out the product targeting video ads on product listings in, what was it, March, I think it was. But they're still beta, so it's not available to everybody. They're also not showing it everywhere. But essentially what they're doing is they're taking, instead of just the sponsor brand video ad that shows up in search results, they'll also show the sponsor brand video ads in product detail pages. But my experience is the same, is that the impressions, in other words, usually when we see like impressions across an entire ad type are very low, it's usually because Amazon hasn't really opened up that program to everybody. It's not available everywhere, and they're really kind of, they're throttling it at this point as far as when they choose to show it. I think you're definitely going to see a lot more visibility and traffic on through Prime Day, but we don't know yet. That's one of those kind of things where Amazon goes to roll out something new, and they basically only have 10% of the sellers that 10% of the sellers or 10% of the product listings that they're actually going to show that ad type onto. Then it's likely that you're going to get very few impressions. Certainly when they first rolled out sponsored brand video ads at all, it was very common for the impressions to be very low. It's still pretty low. I mean, that's kind of the nature of sponsored brand ads anyway. But I would say, like, just continue to, try to be aggressive with it. Right now, just consider yourself an early adopter, and that when Amazon catches up and starts showing the ads properly, obviously you can do some things as far as like, okay, if you are getting some impressions and getting clicks, then you can start looking at things like, what's my click-through rate, conversion rate, those kinds of things for tuning of the ads. Now, to address the 0 impressions. Now, when I say 0, I mean you've got none, okay? You've had no visibility whatsoever. That is a block on your ad. Amazon is preventing that ad from running because of, most likely, a content violation. You're probably using a word in the video or in the product listing or in the targeting that is against terms of service by Amazon standard. That, of course, is not a published list of keywords that they put out there, but it is something that is very common. I think our own internal list of blocked keywords is at least 100. I don't remember what our count is currently, but an example on that is you may not, because of, here's kind of how that comes about as far as content blocks. And it usually starts with brand ads, sponsored brand ads, and then it rolls out to other ones like sponsored product ads. Is you may have a word that is in your product listing, back end, title, description, doesn't really matter. Let's say, for instance, that um, you sell a product. The way that this actually, here's an example: Boost. Okay, so Boost was a term that was kind of abused in the supplement market for some adult supplementations. That Amazon decided, it's like, okay, I'm going to restrict ads because it might have a chance of showing inappropriate ads to a broader audience, including children, and therefore we're going to stop running ads for any product listing that includes the word Boost. Now, the problem with that is that you may have something that is completely different. You sell, I don't know, you sell a completely unrelated product, and you say, hey, you know what, you're just trying to boost the performance of your barbecuing. I don't know. Unfortunately, it's the same word, and they're still taking a very broad appeal kind of block on that. So, and Amazon is able to transcribe the audio words that are used in your video. So if you have any kind of talking video, any kind of text that is in the video, they can interpret that as well. But also check your targets, check your product detail, product listing to see there may be words in there that Amazon simply just doesn't like. And unfortunately, that it's kind of find a needle in a haystack. We've gotten used to a lot of the words that are likely. Like, I could look at a listing. That's kind of something I do in my own coaching, not to promote that. I'm just saying in my own coaching is that I can look through and I can usually pick out 4 or 5 words that are likely candidates. Anthony, I'm sure you could probably do the same thing. It's just a case of just having some experience with content optimization. But you can definitely take some time to go through and see what words might be, might send the wrong signal as far as making a statement that that the product can do something that is subjective. That's usually the first thing I start with. So hopefully, Ryan, that gave you a couple of bits to work with, along with others who are asking a similar question. All right, not a whole lot of questions coming in today. We must have been very clear, Anthony. Is that right?
Thorough.
Very thorough. Yeah, I was going to say we can kind of go through. Let me go back to the original slide here. We talked about for post Prime Day strategy, returning to the 80% of ad spend, not 100%. Investing in that remaining 20% into products and targets that you want to get higher sales velocity, higher conversion rate. In other words, you want to double down on and improve on even better those that perform well during Prime Week. Certainly taking advantage of weak competitors or competitors that are making mistakes during Prime Week and post Prime Week, as far as to increase your market share by targeting them directly. Anthony, I don't know if you want to kind of recap your 3.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously replenish smart. Think about your logistics from an intelligence standpoint, primarily if for no other reason than because you really, really want to set yourself up for the most success possible during Q4. Take this time to rank for your long tail keywords. Stay out of the pool of those big keywords that all your competitors spend a ton of money ranking for and then reaping crazy benefits from during Prime days. And, go build that foundation again, focusing on words that your competitors aren't, and then push relevance from with external traffic from outside of Amazon to show Amazon that you're still in the game and your products are still relevant for major keywords. Just because you didn't take advantage of some of the same things that your competitors did within Amazon, the traffic is still there and people are still interested, and you're actually bringing it from outside sources.
Nice, very cool. Thank you, Anthony. All right, I'd say let's go ahead and wrap it up here. I'm not getting a whole lot of new questions coming in that we haven't already discussed or that are related to the topic here. So For those of you who are in Clubhouse, look at the three up there, myself, Anthony, and Matt, who have the moderator green. Go ahead and click our profiles and follow us for future events. Each one of us cover different areas, different topics of Amazon and getting increasing success on Amazon within the Clubhouse world. So go ahead and follow the three of us in order to get notified of future areas where we're speaking on or we're leading conversations on. For those of you who are on Zoom, really appreciate you jumping on here and asking your questions and interacting with us, giving some feedback. I really do appreciate everybody's feedback, your patience rather, including yours, Anthony, regarding trying to multicast. I'm going to touch base with Rana and see if there's a better way that we can do this. If anybody else has other examples where we can multicast more effectively, especially regarding audio, I think that's probably the biggest challenge right there. We certainly would love to be able to do that. And once again, thank you for joining us today. Those of you who signed up for using the link either in the Clubhouse, in our Clubhouse profile, or that, I guess that was for the live Zoom. That's not really signing up for our email list, but we will republish this out to this whole presentation. We'll republish the recording across the weekend out to the Amazon PPC troubleshooting group on Facebook, and usually within a week or two. I'll probably have to do it sooner, given this is a timely topic. I'll put it out to my the Brian R. Johnson YouTube channel on YouTube. Funny enough. All right, awesome. Well, thank you, Anthony. Appreciate co-hosting on this. I hope that everybody gets something they can implement post Prime Day, and let us know after Prime Day how those worked out for you. I'm excited to hear some success stories. So thanks, everybody, and have a fantastic rest of your week.